to our yoga flow. So on our wonderful 90-day yoga chart here, our 90-day yoga warrior program. So in the move section, what we're about to go through, this quick and easy flow, will give you check marks in 4 of our boxes here. So we're gonna do our morning 7 spinal. Together we're gonna do our 7 shoulder exercises, our 7 hip exercises, and the 7 sun salutations. So I'm gonna get to it right now. So first we're gonna set up for our lovely morning spinal. And I know I say that I do this in bed, and I do this just as I'm about to get out of bed every single morning. So pretend we're sitting in bed, but if you wake up and you wanna do this together, this is a great way to start any practice. So first we're gonna sit up nice and tall. Then we do this 2 times. One really isolating and working on our head, and the second working on our spine. So let's just take our head to one shoulder and we're stretching. We can feel the nice stretch on the other side of our neck. And then when you are ready, just look down slightly. And this will really make a nice stretch on just the inside of your neck, where we have lots and lots of lymph nodes. And now look up, back to center and over to that other side. Feel that nice stretch in your neck. Look slightly down and slightly up. Come back to center. Let's look all the way down. Look down to your belly. Really feel it along the back of your neck. And then look up. And the trick for this is, once you've looked up, take your jaw and push it towards the roof. It looks super funny, but I promise you, no one will be looking at you, and it feels great. It's a lovely release for your jaw. So once you're looking up, take that jaw, try and push it towards the ceiling. And back to center. So now let's look over our first shoulder, making sure that our shoulders are perfectly square. And the other direction. Last one is, we're just going to try and be as still and tall as possible. Imagine that there is this string on the top of your head pulling you straight up. So let's do that exact thing, but we're using our spine this time. So let's come over to one side. And if this is as far as you get, this is fine. We should just feel a really nice stretch on our side body here. You can take your hand over your head, or you can place it to your knee. But the focus here is just a nice opening all the way from your hip, all the way to your armpit. And up to center, and over to our other side. My little plant's in the way. That's okay, I like them. And up to center. So now we're gonna do that twist. So let's go over to one side. I always like to take my hand to my outer knee or my outer leg if I am sitting, just to use it as a really good pull into this. And we look over our shoulder. Now let's come back to center and do it the other way. And back to center. So now we're going to do our first cat and cow. So the cat and cow kind of looks like this from a sitting position. We curl. You should feel a really nice expansion right behind your shoulders. And then when you're ready, grab onto your knees. Even if you're sitting, grab onto your knees and really pull that chest forward. Let's do that cat and cow one more time. Really good curl. And then pull your chest forward. You should feel it a little bit in your lower back. Now last one is standing or sitting straight. So try and make as much space in between each vertebrae as possible. Great, now we're gonna head on to our wonderful sun salutation. Now for our wonderful sun salutations, let's come to a place at the middle of our mat. We're gonna have a nice standing position. Now the first part of it that's the most difficult is actually just standing, which is said to be mountain pose. So now let's take our feet a good hip width apart. Have a little tiny bend in your knee. You might not even see it, you might not even feel it, but you know that there's a little bend in your knee. We're not hyperextending our legs like I'm doing right now. There's a little bend. Let's check in with our hips. Are they diving forward? They're almost always diving forward. So just put them back, which feels like your tailbone is kind of curving under. And that's a nice neutral position. Nice and tall, shoulders are open, they're not coming together, which they naturally do from all of this typing we do every single day. And our arms are by our side. When our arms are open, our hands are facing forward, because as soon as we put them the other direction, look what happens to my shoulders. They naturally come in. So just by opening our arms, we're also making sure our shoulders stay open. So this is our mountain pose. Nice tall spine right up to the top of our head. And when you're ready, we're going to bring our arms up. So if you have any issues with your shoulders, and this is as far as you can get, that's entirely fine. So inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands come to heart center, so your thumbs are touching your chest. Inhale, arms up, and we do a little cactus pose, or it looks like goal posts. It looks like this. Our elbows are in line. And we do a tiny little opening for the front of our chest. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Let's go through that first part one more time. Hands to the side. Inhale, up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, up. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, up. Exhale, hands back to heart center. So that's the first part of the sun salutations. Now we're going to add a little bit to it, and it's basically coming down. And this is the hard part, and this is why I want you to see me from the side, is often when we do this dive forward in yoga, watch what happens to my hips. And I see this with students all the time. Just watch my hips. Are they directly on top of my feet, or do they go way far back? So I'll show you a traditional one. Hands go up and forward. And if you can see, my hips went way, way, way back. So what we want to do is try to keep your hips right on top of your feet. So that might mean your hands can't go way in front. What that means, and if you look right here, and this is something we do really slowly. It's called Uttanasana. And all my hips are right on top of my feet. It means I'm using every last little toe from keeping to fall over. Now, wherever you get in this pose, you don't have to touch the floor, you don't have to touch your toes. Wherever you are that you're like, that is enough, put your hands either on your thighs, your shins, the floor, the toes, whatever it is. Try not to put your hands on your knees, because those end up pushing our knees out. Whatever works best. So let's put that all together. We're going to be flowing from one breath to one movement. I'll go slow for the first one, and then we'll do it a little faster together. So first, let's stand up nice and tall. We'll do our mountain pose, so our hands are nice and open to the side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, cactus arm, nice big opening to your chest. Inhale, up. Exhale, slow, 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 slower than you want to go, down. And then whenever you're at the point where that is enough for me, put your hands either on your thighs, your shins, your toes, or the floor. And we stay here for a count of 3. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale to flat back, which means your back, your spine is exactly parallel to the earth. I like to place my hands on my shins or my thighs. Exhale, fold to whatever feels comfortable for you, a nice stretch. Inhale, coming up slowly, slowly again, so those hips stay right over those feet. Hands back to heart center. All right, so that was our first one, so we're gonna do 6 more. Ready? Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus arm. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, slow, 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 slowly go forward. Wherever you land, stay there for a breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale up to half. So our back is nice and parallel. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Well, that's number 2. Let's do that again. Remember to have a nice little bend in our knees. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, go slower than you want down. Inhale, up to half. Down. And fall, fall, fall. Close your eyes for a minute. Inhale, up to half. Exhale, fold. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. That's number 3. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, fold forward. Oh, crazy daisy, look what I did. We'll do that one again. Happens all the time. Inhale, hands up. Exhale. Do our cactus arms. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold forward. I'm watching 2 little bunnies play on our front yard when I'm supposed to be concentrating, but they're very hard watching them bounce around. Inhale, up to a nice flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, slow, 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 up. Exhale, fold forward. Okay, I'm not gonna watch those bunnies anymore. Inhale, up. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, up. Exhale, slowly dive forward. And then wherever you come to, let's come up to a nice flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, up to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, all the way up and to center. 2 more times. Inhale, up. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold slowly. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Last one. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold, fold, fold forward. Slowly, slowly. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold. Stay here for a couple breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. Those hamstrings, those calves are really waking up now. Inhale, up to flat back. Exhale, fold. And inhale, all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, well, let's start with our shoulder and hip work now. So our first pose that incorporates something for our shoulders as well as starting to warm up our hips is something called crouching eagle. So I will show it to you by the side because I want you to see what our legs do first. And what we're trying to do is keep our wonderful knees right on top of our feet, but put our bottom back a little bit. So we don't want our knees to go forward over our toes. We want them to stay right on top of our feet. But we want to make sure that our hips are going back. So you're starting to feel really something going on and you're pushed all the way to your legs. But don't let these knees come forward. Keep them back. It does not matter how low you go. So if this is as low as you go, it is perfect. Now at the same time we're doing this, we're doing what we call eagle arms. So there's 2 different ways to do this. And if you have any issues with your arms or have never tried this before, the best way is just to either grab for opposite elbows, grab for opposite shoulders. The way that we do it is we take one arm under the other, so we've made a little X here. Bend your arms and cross them. So this is what we're looking when they talk eagle arms. This is what we're talking about. So any of these are good. You can grab for alternate elbows, you can grab for alternate shoulders, or you can do an eagle twist, whatever works best for you. So first let's work on our hips here. We're gonna be holding this pose for a few minutes We'll get out of it and then we'll hold it again. So our feet are together, toes are touching, heels are touching, knees are directly on top of our feet as we kick that hip back. And you're going to start to feel it right here in the crease of your hip. Now with a nice straight back, right from your lovely little tailbone all to the crown of your head, we will do any of those arm variations that worked for you. Grab your elbows, grab your shoulders, or do the twist for the eagle arms. When you are ready, make sure we're breathing. We're not holding our breath here. Exhale, breathe in, one more big breath. To make sure that I'm sitting down, or to make sure that my feet are firmly planted. I don't know if you can see my toes here, but I always like to make sure that my toes are up. Anytime you're in standing poses and your toes are firmly planted, we tend to take our weight forward like this too much, where in most poses, if you take your toes up, even if it's just a sliver, you'll make sure that the weight is towards the back of your feet. So one more breath in, one more breath out. Let's just stand, let's release our arms, shake them out. Now, whichever way you did that, if you cross your arms, this is the tricky part. I always have to remember, what did I do last time? So do what feels naturally. We're gonna do the same thing with our arms. What naturally do you do? Do you cross them one way? Do you cross them the other? Whatever you naturally do, switch it. Do the opposite. So I know I had my right arm under, so now I'll put my left arm under. Doing my eagle arms, and I'm sitting back down. Again, it doesn't matter how far you get into this. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. One more, breathe in, breathe out. And release, shake that out. So the next thing we're gonna do is starting to get into a pose called Bakasana. We're not gonna go fully into it, but it's a good thing to really start opening up your hips. And I'll show you what it looks like from the side. So we're gonna take our wonderful feet out. So now, when they're normally hip distance apart, we're gonna about double that. So now we have about 2 hips distance between our feet. And now let's just take our feet out about 45-degree angle. They're not pointing forward, they're pointing out to the side. Oh, there's those bunnies again. And when you are ready, really tuck in that tailbone so that our tush isn't going back. And we are going to sit down. I want you to pay attention to your knees and where they naturally go. Normally they will still want to go forward. We want to make sure that they're tracking towards both of your toes. We do not need to go very deep in this pose. We want to make sure we're in a nice tall spine here. We're going to start feeling it in our legs pretty darn soon. One of the reasons we don't want to go very deep into this pose is we don't want our knees going over our toes. As soon as it is doing that, you can start feeling things in your knees that aren't so good. So remember, this is just a really light pose. It's about holding it longer each time we're in it, as opposed to going deeper into it. Let's stay in this position. Doesn't matter what you do with your hands, whatever works best for you. Nice and tall. Try not to pay any attention to any bunnies in your front yard. I'm gonna say for one more breath, your thighs are probably shaking at this point, saying, I am not happy, this is not going on. And now push up. Oh, that feels so good. So now we're gonna do one of my lovely favorite poses to release. So now keep your feet exactly where they are, but now we're gonna face them forward. So this is a wonderful release whenever we've done anything strenuous to our legs. And it's just coming forward. And if you can touch the ground, great. If not, I normally have something in front of me. And we're just releasing. You do not have to pull, you don't have to go down any further than your body wants to. We're gonna stay here for about 5 breaths together. So breathe in. Try to have no weight in your head, which means you just let it fall. Wherever it falls is perfect. And we're gonna add in a moment something for our shoulders to do a really good stretch here. Just fall. You can even close your eyes. And when you're ready, let's take our left hand towards our right foot or our right shin. And we're gonna do a little bit of a twist. So as we're pulling on either a right shin or a right foot, we're taking that opposite lovely shoulder and we're looking up towards the ceiling. Breathe in, breathe out. Make sure there's a tiny little bend in those knees, but you're not grabbing around your knees, you're grabbing around your calf or even your thigh. Now let's do the alternate side. Let's take that right hand now, goes to your left foot, and our left hand goes up. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Come back to center and slowly, slowly roll up. So now that we're still in this position, I want you to, and we'll go really carefully and slowly into this position, but it is fantastic for helping us get a nice opening on the inside of our hip, which is so important, especially as so many of us suffer from anything from sciatica to low back pain. It's making sure that these channels in our hips are open. And that is, if you can crouch down and it's kind of going back and forth very, very slowly. If you have to grab onto a chair, you do so. First time you go into this, go very, very gently. And we're just doing this nice, really easy, gentle rocking position. So it's nothing that we're trying to get really deep into. We're staying up. We don't have to get down low. And let's come down to the ground. Ooh, that was a good one. That was a good one. We'll be doing some work on the floor now, so I'll turn you guys around. All right, so even though we're down on the ground, we're gonna do the rest of our shoulder work as well as our hip work down here as we cool down. Some of those poses, they can really be a wee bit strenuous on you, especially if we haven't practiced yoga or done too much stretching lately. We're all coming out of our spring, of our winter, and things are just a little more tighter than they normally are. So I'm gonna go through a couple little positions that are super, super easy, but really get into these wonderful hips. So the first one is a modified pigeon. So what I want you to do is we're gonna sit just like this. We're trying to stay at the top of our shoulders. And then if you need your hand to help you, we're just gonna take our wonderful foot and put it across just below our knee. And we're standing nice and tall in our shoulders. And we're breathing right here. So pigeon is a pose that we do often in yoga, and there's many ways to get into it and to get into it really, really deep. But the first is to go really slow and careful with yourselves. So this is a great opening for your hip. And if you're feeling this is a little easy for you, what you do is you climb your little hands a wee bit forward so you're sitting up taller while you're making sure that this knee isn't coming into you. We're still making sure it's nice and straight across. Breathe in, breathe out. Let's place that leg down as we take the other one in. If you need your hand to help you, you do that. Now let's come back a little. I was getting a little too forward there. Now make sure that this knee is going towards that ground. There's a nice 90-degree 90-degree angle at your ankle as well as at your knee. And if you feel that, oh, that feels good, I can do that. Climb slowly, slowly a little bit further towards getting nice and straight. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. So the next pose is a very popular one when we talk in yoga, and it is our child's pose. So in order to do child's pose, well, first just really pay attention to your knees, pay attention to your ankles. If this is bothering you at all, don't worry, we can put pillows in. I'll show you how in a moment. We can put a pillow, like the big pillow that you have in your bedroom. You can put a couple of them right in the center to lay on that if it doesn't feel good coming down. So now with our knees out to the side of our mat and our feet down under us, we slowly, slowly, slowly inch forward. And if this is as far as we get, that's entirely fine. This is a pretty tight, so what we're doing is we're fully opening our ankles because they're pressing down. This is a really good bend to our knees as well as into our wonderful hip. So when you're ready, you can slowly come down a little bit further. And we just stay here and we breathe. And in the traditional happy baby, if you don't have pillows or something under you, you can just come all the way down. So there's a couple different things that we can do with our arms here. You can either have them out in front of you like this. You can have them beside you. I always like to, when I'm doing happy baby, I always make sure I look to one side or the other, or else your nose gets smushed into the mat. Or you can, and this might feel a little more comfortable for you if you're quite flexible, we put our arms back like that. I'll show you what it looks like. So we're just staying here, resting. We have nothing to do. It's a good supportive position. And just pay attention what's coming up. Is there any little piece of your body that's needing a little more attention right now? What's calling to you? And on your next breath, try and just release that specific area a little bit. One more big breath in and come out. So now we're going to stay in this position, but we're really going to do a nice stretch to our shoulders. So just pay attention with how deep you can get into this position. So the first part of it is, if this is feeling deep enough, all I want you to do is put one arm to the side and do a bit of a stretch, and you'll feel something going on in your shoulder. If you're feeling good to come down, so we're going to put our hand along the ground here, and our other hand kind of just rests behind us. It's a great way to stretch out the underside of our shoulders. Breathe in, breathe out. Now gently push yourself up. Let's go the other way. Arm goes long or arm is right here. Either which way, we're working on having a nice long stretch right here. And we lay. Alternate arm just goes behind you or rests beside you, whatever feels best. Breathe in, breathe out. And we're going to come up, shake that out a little bit. Sometimes you feel a lot of things going on in these shoulders. The other video we put together, we talked a lot about some shoulder work. So if you just did that before or plan to do it afterwards, your shoulders are going to be, they're going to be on fire. So we're going to make sure that we end nicely. We'll do a little breath work exercise here. So come up to a nice, easy sitting position. It doesn't matter if your legs are crossed or not, whatever is comfortable to you. We'll come up to a nice final seated position. Make sure that you're nice and tall. You can feel all the way from your tailbone to the very, very top of your head. Let's put our hands open on. All of us have between our wonderful knees and our calf here, the top of our calf, this lovely little valley right here. So I want you to think of that valley is cradling the back of your hand. So let's put our hands right there. And what that does, just by making sure that that valley is cradling your hand, it pulls your arms a little bit away from your body so it's not in so tight. So let's keep our hands there. Our hands are open. Nothing you need to do with your fingers. Just let them fall as they will. Nice tall spine. So breathe in. And with your exhale, big open mouth. Big inhale. Big exhale. Open mouth. So do that a few more times. Just with a closed mouth. Breathe in.